When was the last time you rode a horse? No, seriously, when was the last time? For most of us, it's never. But for you equestrians out there, it's often. However, in 2025, a lot of us could potentially ride a horse all the way to February, as the Denver Broncos have been quietly building a Super Bowl contender through free agency.
The 2024 Broncos exceeded expectations by a wide margin. Their over-under for wins was 5.5. They crushed that, going 10-7, making the playoffs for the first time since the Super Bowl 50 win. While they did get blown out in the wild card round by the Buffalo Bills, all as well as first-round pick quarterback Bo Nix showed a lot of promise, and that defense was crazy. The Denver Broncos defense, led by shutdown corner Pat Surtain and pass rusher Nick Bonito, were first in EPA per play, first in dropback EPA, fourth in rush EPA, seventh in yards allowed per game, and third in points per game, and first in sacks. Truly an elite season containing some surprise stories like the aforementioned Nick Bonito. Nick was the 64th pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, hadn't done much in the league prior to 2024. 1.5 sacks as a rookie, solid 8 in 2023 on just 35 and 52% of defensive snaps. But in 2024, snap count rose 61%, and so did his numbers. 13.5 sacks, pick 6, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble 6, 61 pressures, which was 16th in the league, and 27 stops. On his way to the Pro Bowl and second-team All-Pro. Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, and Zach Allen all had 61-plus pressures, with defensive tackle Zach Allen having 81, second among all defensive tackles. This pass rush changed this defense into the elite monster that it was. That can't be done without the amazing secondary, including the best cornerback in the league, Pat Surtain. Their linebackers left room to be desired, with Cody Barton leaving for free agency to Tennessee this offseason, and Alex Singleton tearing his ACL in Week 3, and outside of Brandon Jones, the safeties had the same issue. And this offseason, there have been a lot of teams making great moves. New England has gotten defensive help and depth all around. Same thing with the Vikings, the Bears getting help around Caleb Williams, but no team has set themselves up for a chance to become a real contender like the Denver Broncos. Guys, real quick, if you're like me and you want to play fantasy sports during the NFL offseason, there's no better place to do it than on Underdog. Underdog's the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. All you have to do is pick between 2-day players, pick higher or lower on their stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. Like, I've been winning on the 2-mans and 3-mans recently with all the discount tokens I'm getting and the profit boost. They truly have the best promos of any DFS app. Now, if you sign up with code FANATICS, you get deposit match up to $1,000 and a free higher than 0.5 pick. That's just a free pick to go along with your entry. However many players you put in it, it's a free pick. That's a guaranteed win for you. Again, that is code FANATICS for all those promos, plus the sign-up bonus. With a rookie scale contract at quarterback, now is when you spend money, and they have. So far in free agency, they have re-signed defensive tackle DJ Jones, 3 years, $39 million, brought in 2 49ers, safety Talanoa Hufanga, 3 years, $45, linebacker Dre Greenlaw for 3 for $35. Oh, and they fixed their biggest need, the tight end, with Evan Engram for 2 for $23. Let's start with the defensive guys. As of now, they have the best defense in the league. First, DJ Jones re-signing. He was a solid nose tackle or D tackle, had 18 pressures on just 269 pass rushing snaps, and was 8th best against the run in terms of PFF grade among all Denver front 7 players. But then Talanoa Hufanga comes in for $15 million a year. This past season, he was okay, coming off a torn ACL in 2023, limiting him to 10 games, and he would only play in 7 this past year for the Niners. But in 2022, he was debatably the best safety in the NFL. He had 6 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and 3rd amongst all safeties in stops with 32. The Broncos safety group was not that great outside of Brandon Jones, who quietly had a really good year. But adding Hufanga upgrades his secondary in ways that no fans really expected. I did not expect Hufanga to leave San Fran, or go to Denver specifically if he did, but it really is a great impact signing for years to come, especially considering that he'll only be 25 for the whole season. Unless they make the Super Bowl, then he'll be 26. If he can stay healthy, he will reproduce that 2022 season under this defense with other great players on it. But if you want to hear more about the Hufanga season back in 2022, check out this video by Mike Kenny NFL. He does a great job getting into the details of it and telling you everything you need to know about this guy and who Denver is getting. The other 49er they stole was linebacker Dre Greenlaw, another guy who suffered injuries but was really good when healthy. From 2022 to 23, he was a top linebacker in the NFL. He's able to cover and tackle out in space, honestly anything you ask him to do. Now, of course, he tore his Achilles coming onto the field in the Super Bowl, missed almost the entire 2024 season, but besides that, he will still be a great player for this Broncos team, in need of linebacker hope with Cody Barton leaving, and Alex Singleton coming back from an injury of his own. This defense was elite last season, and some would say the second best in the NFL, but it was not because of their linebackers. Greenlaw was one of the most physical, dominating linebackers in his 2 best seasons. While he does not offer those skills at the same level, he's very worth his contract and worth giving a shot to. Although he barely played last season, he looked good when available. Greenlaw will provide something that this Denver linebacker core needs bad to prove that they will be the number 1 defense in the NFL. They got him at a steal, only being the 10th highest paid linebacker in the league, and he will prove to be worth that money and more. When you add those two guys to an already elite defense that had Pat Surtain at corner, the number 1 corner in the league, Riley Moss next to him, Brandon Jones at safety, Nick Benito, one of the best edge rushers in the NFL, finished 9th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, Zach Allen, whoever else, you will get the best defense in the league. The Eagles lost a ton of key starters: CJ Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Milton Williams, and Josh Sweat. The Vikings do have a great argument for the best defense in the league after the offseason they've had, but the Broncos already proved last year they were a top 2 defense, while the Vikings were up there as well. With these elite additions at great prices and probably more to come, there's no way they don't finish as the best defense in the NFL. But as I said with Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga, it comes down to health. That's also the case for Evan Engram, their other signee. Engram only played 9 games last year and was okay, but the season prior, he was a Pro Bowler with 114 catches, 963 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Engram provides the Broncos with something that they've not had since 2021 with Noah Fant, a threat down the middle of the field. Keep in mind, I just said Noah Fant. Engram is a pretty dynamic receiver, and no team needed a tight end more than the Broncos this offseason. Adam Trotman was not and will never cut it as your best tight end on the roster. No tight end last year had over 188 yards for the Broncos. For a guy like Bo Nix, who's comfortable taking what the defense gives him, taking underneath passes, coming in 24th in average depth per target, a guy like Engram, whose ADOT was 5 yards in 2023 and 5.8 in 2024, is perfect. He can take the checkdowns and create explosive plays with the ball in his hands as one of the more dynamic tight ends in the league. Keep in mind they have Sean Payton on the sidelines, one of the more creative minds in football who can find ways to get Engram targets so he can do what he does best with this versatile weapon. Engram is known for getting the ball and creating stuff after the catch. That's why he was so good in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. Now Mac Jones, we're not going to talk about him, but him in Jacksonville was great. Imagine him with Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Not saying Bo Nix is better than Trevor Lawrence, but this offense is clearly a better place for Engram to succeed. Free agency has gone amazing for the Broncos so far, filling holes and upgrading other positions that maybe weren't the biggest need, like safety, just making the position better as a whole. Through the draft, they need to add skill positions. Guys like Luther Burden, Marion Hampton, Matthew Golden, Mecca Egbuka will probably be available at pick 20. So either get a running back since Javonte Williams left to help Bo Nix out so he doesn't have to throw 40 times a game, or get a true number 2 receiver behind Courtland Sutton. But after signing Engram, I think running back might be the better option. You have the 2 great targets with a good set of supporting cast in Deshaun Vele, Marvin Mims, and Troy Franklin for a rotation of guys filling the 2 through 4 roles at receiver. But your running game was 26th in yards per carry, 16th in yards, 23rd in touchdowns, and 17th in EPA. It's time to get a guy you can rely on in the ground game. You missed out on Daddle. I don't know if they were targeting him, but you get the point. As well as other free agent running backs, take a young guy, hope it works out. Although through the first few days of free agency they've made all the right moves, you have to continue to find ways to help out Bo Nix so he can grow as a quarterback without having to be counted on as much. Sean Payton knows what he's doing with the play sheet, and George Patton is doing everything he can to make sure this defense can play complementary football at an even higher level than last year. This Denver Broncos team had one of, if not the best free agency classes in 2025. After these additions, they will prove to be real playoff contenders, if their additions can stay healthy, and if they add the right offensive pieces to truly take them over the hump.